Hello everyone, here's my review for The Last of Us. The Last of Us follows Joel, a smuggler who must take Ellie, a young girl, across the US 20 years after society has collapsed due to a fungal infection outbreak. I don't often review video games because one, I usually only play story-based video games, and two, I don't feel like I have the expertise to really critique gameplay as in-depth as a lot of people probably could. But I am really interested in how video games are written, especially this style of video game. So every once in a while, when I play a narrative video game, I'll do a review for it. The Last of Us was actually the first video game I ever reviewed on Instagram. This was like 6 years ago about now. I first played it when I was probably like 13, and then I replayed it to review, and since then I've played it about 10 times. So much so that I owed both the PS3 and PS4 versions. This is my favorite game of all time, full stop. I know it's cool to hate on The Last of Us these days, but like, come on, what are we doing?
Stop with the bullshit.
I truly love every single thing about this game, and I think it's one of the greatest stories ever told, or at least the first half. For starters, I do really like the gameplay of this game. I think it has aged quite well. Now, if you play part 2 and then go back to this one, it can feel a little clunky, but I think for 2013, it still feels good. The gunplay can get really intense because of the low amount of resources that the game provides you with, which I think is the true beauty of the game, and that's where it derives a lot of its tension from. You feel like you're getting through each combat sequence by the skin of your teeth. Graphically, it also really still holds up. I vividly recall booting this up on PS3 for the first time and being completely blown away, because this was the first narrative video game I had really ever played. But I think the remastered version also holds up well. I can't comment on the Part 1 PS5 remake, but I plan on getting it someday when it's like on sale for $10. The art direction incorporates this really Americana feel that ties into the story, and the color palette is gorgeous. But all the other aspects of this game are really truly beautiful. I still think these are some of the greatest performances ever by Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker in the lead roles. There are so many moments where the acting informs the characters, and vice versa, that are so just genius. There's a line from Ellie that I can imagine was improv by Ashley Johnson where she says, "Everyone fucking except for you," which is not where you would normally put an expletive in a sentence, but it's a beautiful little bit of acting or writing if it was written like that, but I can imagine it was improv. Or towards the end of the prologue when Troy Baker sort of breaks down. It's very quiet and understated. It's not this big, loud moment. The side performances are great too, though. I mean, Nolan North is in this game, and I don't think you would know that if you went in blind. Merle Dandridge is great in her small role as Marlene. This should probably be studied in acting classes. I'm not an actor, obviously, but there are so many lessons that I think actors could probably take from this game. Gustavo Santaolla's score is so impactful. There are so many memorable themes that play both during cutscenes and gameplay. His choice to lead the score with guitar really contributes to the atmosphere of the game, because in a lot of ways you could almost call this game a Western, and the music really informs that feel. But writing-wise, this is still the greatest video game screenplay I've ever seen. Why I think The Last of Us is so good is because it takes what might be a fairly cliche apocalypse situation. It's inspired by many previous works of apocalyptic fiction, especially The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which, shocker, is also one of my favorite books. But it takes that sort of cliche dynamic and creates so many fascinating characters in it, especially Joel and Ellie. This duo right here is unbelievably impactful. Watching the two grow to care for each other over the course of the game is one of the great feats of video game writing. It's done through gameplay, through dialogue, through cutscenes. Every aspect of the game is tied to the writing, and that's why I think it is so amazing. It takes advantage of the fact that it's a video game to tell a more compelling story. Additionally, the way it's paced is also really interesting. It's broke up into 4 main sections with a prologue and an epilogue, and none of them really feel dragged out. I mean, it takes me less and less time to play this game each time because now I've played it like 10 times, but it's only about 15 to 20 hours on a normal run through. So nailing those story beats is important, and I think it does that exceptionally well. It's got a hell of an opening and a hell of an ending that I won't spoil if you haven't played it, but damn, they are memorable. Overall, The Last of Us is my favorite video game, and probably will continue to always be my favorite video game and one of my favorite stories out there in the world. So with that, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. If you somehow haven't played this masterpiece, I highly recommend it. It's available on PS3, PS4, and there's a PS5 remake, which doesn't actually change anything. It's just updated graphically. I believe it's also available on PC, but I would say play it on PlayStation if you can, because I haven't heard great things about the PC port. Everyone I've recommended this to has loved it, and it's one of few stories that really brings me to tears every time I play it. But thank you all for watching. If you have played The Last of Us, let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.